Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask everyone to go ahead and take your seats. We're going to be starting here shortly. Good evening and welcome to the Dumas, Mora County Chamber of Commerce 2022 Candidates Forum. My name is Carl Watson and I am the Executive Director of the Dumas, Mora County Chamber of Commerce. Also joining me on stage and upstairs there are our co-hosts for this evening's event, and they are Michael Wright, publisher of the Mora County News Press. We have Gentleman Jim McCarty, who's going to be our host this evening as far as handling the moderation. And, of course, he is the morning host on Big Country 95.3 KDDD. And this evening's moderator, as I said, Raymond Brady, who is owner of the Mora County Journal and Blue Cloud TV, who is responsible for this evening's live stream coverage for our forum. And Grant Merrill, the owner of KDDD Radio. The forum is being live streamed on Blue Cloud TV, as well as on other four hosting Facebook pages, and carried live on KDDD Radio 95.3 FM. We also want to thank Mr. Monty Heisinger, Superintendent of Dumas ISD, for allowing us to use the Dumas High School auditorium for this evening's presentation. For those of you who might be wondering how the questions for the forum were decided upon, over the last few weeks, the Chamber and all of our local media outlets have received questions for tonight's forum. Our local media group, along with me, compiled these questions in a manner that would apply to each candidate group. The format for the program is as follows. Each of the 5 open offices will be broken into segments. The 4 candidates there'll be 3. One of the candidates for the Texas District 31 seat will not be here. Will go first, followed by the 2 candidates for Mora County Judge, 2 candidates for Justice of the Peace Precinct 1, 2 candidates for County Commissioner Precinct 2, and finally the 4 candidates for County Commissioner Precinct 4, who have received and accepted our invitation to the forum. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to present an opening statement. Then the moderator will ask questions of them, and to which each will have 2 minutes to respond to the question. Candidates will be given 1 minute for rebuttal if needed. At the end of the questions, each candidate will be given 1 minute to present a closing statement. We have provided the candidates with a countdown clock so that they can present their responses in the time allotted for each question. Due to the number of participants in this evening's forum, we ask that each candidate be respectful of the other candidate's time and stay within the allotted time frame and give up the microphone requested by forum staff. We also ask everyone to use appropriate language and a professional demeanor. If time permits, we will ask a question or two provided from the audience. You can also either text or email questions to the number or email address on the bottom of your handout and live stream screen. And now, I turn the program over to our moderator, Gentleman Jim.
Got to learn how to operate a microphone, I guess. You'd think after all these years in radio, I'd know how to do that. Thank you very much, Carl. And thank you for our candidates being here, number one. And thank you to the very nice crowd we have here at Dumas Auditorium tonight. And what we're going to do, as Carl said, we'll start with each candidate giving a 2-minute opening statement. And we'd like to go to the end of the table here with Mr. Reed. If you'd start us off, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tim Reed, and I'm running for Texas Senate District 31. I appreciate the invitation tonight being out here. You have a choice to make this year because you have 4 candidates in this race. And as we speak, I think it's important that you know that we're qualified for this position. And those are important things for all of us. This is kind of a job application, right? You're going to vote for one of us. I spent 32 years in public service, and that was in the law enforcement end, in local law enforcement and the state police, but 28 years total with the FBI. I served here in the Texas Panhandle for 19 years before I was promoted out to West Virginia and to take up assignments in that area, but also a diplomatic tour around the world dealing with terrorism and security. So I look at the issues that are going to be big in this next legislative session. Obviously, public safety is going to be a big one with what's going on at the border and what needs to be done and how we need to do it and the issues behind that. Education, that always seems to be an important issue, which is because for us, our most important resource are our kids. And how we educate them, the things that we provide for them are the most important thing that we can do. And something that's dear to my heart is Child Protective Services. It's a system that's broken, that has to be repaired, retooled, and how we treat our foster kids is something that is a reflection on us in society. And I say that because I'm the product of foster care, and that's why it's dear to my heart. And then the fourth issue that I think is the biggest issue, especially up here in the Panhandle and in the Permian Basin, is going to be sustainable water. As our population grows and businesses come in, our water is something that we know we need, and we don't have it. And so those are the big issues. As we talk and we answer questions tonight, hopefully we can address those that concern you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. And next, Mr. Kevin Sparks.
My name is Kevin Sparks. I just want to start off by saying I wished I had a stage voice like Carl. I mean, wow. So I'm running for State Senate District 31 as well. I'm originally from Midland. I've got a business degree from the University of Texas, moved back to Midland to join my dad and my brothers in the oil business. So I've been in the oil business for more than 35 years now. Married a sweet girl from Monahans, Jill, who would be here tonight, except she's representing us in a forum in Seminole tonight, likely her first opportunity to speak. But even though I'm from Midland, I've got deep roots in the Panhandle. And one of the things that I get asked a lot is, how will you represent us, you know, in the north part of the district? My parents both graduated from high school in Amarillo. So I spent my summers when I go visit my grandparents in Amarillo. My grandfather was a scoutmaster. We'd go down, camp in Paladura Canyon. We did, my grandmother's family was from this area, from north of Sunray, the Browders, and my grandfather's family was from Hemphill County on the Spark side. So I have a lot of fond memories as a child hunting prairie dogs up in this part of the world when we'd come see the farm. In addition to that, in the 90s, we purchased some old Texaco production, and those wells were my area of responsibility. So I spent more than 10 years chasing pulling units, doing projects up here, working with landowners. So I knew when I filed for this, I knew that the people up here in the Panhandle were like-minded with those in West Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Sparks. And next, Stormy Bradley.
We all should have a code to live by. As Texans, we are a value-based people. My values are integrity, grit, and accountability. We need someone in Austin that has unyielding integrity and the backbone to hold their colleagues accountable. I'm just the person to do that. I'm not going to Austin to maintain the status quo. I'm going to Austin because we are at a dire crossroad and we need someone that cares enough to actually make changes. Someone with integrity standing up for you, your family, and your businesses. I am an everyday, hardworking Texan, passionate to serve everyday, hardworking Texans. When you are selecting a senator or any other elected official to represent you, you are looking for someone that represents your interests and values. You want someone that will deliver on their promises. You want someone you can trust to make the right decision for you and your community without compromise. This is a rural district. We live life differently than those in Austin and Houston. We have grit because it's required to flourish here. We value handshakes and integrity. We believe in a good, hard day's work. We want our kids to grow up with a hard work ethic and a servant's heart. You want an elected official that will fight for you like you will fight for yourself. It's time we get someone in office that really understands the community and what's important to us and the generations to come. What we do need is a strong border policy, quality education for our kids and the future generations to come, and the ability to solve financial problems without taxing us out of our homes and businesses. We need doers and fighters. Our word is all we have to prove our integrity, and I assure you, mine is solid. I care about doing what's right. My name is Stormy Bradley, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, ma'am, very much. And if we could just pass the mic back down the table here. We do have some questions for our candidates. Mr. Reed, do you believe in term limits? And if you do, how long should they be?
I do believe in term limits given the present state of both our state and federal governments. I think probably 3 terms is sufficient for everybody, but that also would require some constitutional changes where we are in government.
All right, thank you, sir. Do you feel like there's anything more at the state level that could have been done during COVID, or anything that could have been handled differently?
How about the government treat us like adults? We don't need people telling us down in Austin how to run our life, or Washington, D.C. We can make those decisions for ourselves and our parents, our kids, and I think it's better left to individuals and the local authorities to determine what's best for their communities.
All right, thank you, sir. And on the related question here, many businesses and individuals are struggling to recover from the financial effects of the pandemic. What will you do to aid your fellow Texans in that recovery?
How long do we have? I mean, that is a deep-rooted question. One, we want the government to stay out of our lives, right? And so, because I believe in local control and small government, and you're asking me a question on how big government can help us, and I really think it's you leave it to the local elected officials and their constituents to decide how they're going to help themselves. I think Stormy really hits on it when she says that we're a hardworking people and we're independent out here. We don't need Austin or Washington, D.C. to tell us how to live our lives or to help us out of the problems that we have locally. So I think that's the first thing. Sometimes not doing something is better than some of the stuff that comes out of Washington and Austin.
Thank you, sir. And what are your views on increasing taxes?
I'm trying to give this mic up and you keep asking questions. All right. We all know that taxes are inevitable. We have to pay taxes if we want to continue the standard of living that we have. The question is, I think, where we're going to pay them. And I know right now there are a number of people that are campaigning for office that are going to tell you that they're going to relieve you of your property tax and you're going to be a much happier person. I'm going to tell you that that is not true. All right? Because if you remove the local taxes and we lower the tax rate, and the state can do that, the federal government can do that, and that's going to put all more control and power centralized in Austin. So really, I would tell you that if you're on the bandwagon that you're going to have your taxes cut, number one, nothing's getting cheaper. So just mathematically, you know that that's an impossibility. We can cut local taxes, but it means you're going to have to pay taxes someplace else. I lived in a state for a while where my property tax was $200 a year. I paid individual tax on every dog I owned, every car I owned, every RV, on a boat. My gasoline tax was almost double, and there was a state income tax. You still had to pay for the things you wanted, it just wasn't locally, and we lost all control locally. So before you go down that road, think very deeply, because when you have your local tax rate and the local officials that you have elected, at least you have someone to go to make a complaint. How many of you can freely go down to Austin on a weekly basis and find the people you need to complain to? Right? Doesn't happen. All right. So I would love to see taxes go lower, but I'm not sure that that's a reality. I think it's more of how we control them and to make sure that they stay local.
Okay, thank you, sir, very much. Let's see, do we have time to ask another question or two from you? What are your views on unfunded mandates handed down by the state to county or local governments, and how will you vote on such mandates?
I have visited all 45 counties in our district because it is a huge district that we're in. And that was one of the biggest questions that was asked of me by the county judges, by sheriffs out in our rural counties, because those unfunded mandates affect the rural communities far greater than they do in the urban areas. And I think one of the things that has to be looked at when legislation is passed, that we have to look and determine whether or not counties of a certain population should be affected by that legislation. I think that's one way to curtail some of the unfunded mandates. I'm not a big proponent of mandates to begin with, but unfunded ones, that is not something that's going to get much of my attention if I'm the one is in Austin. I think that comes back to, again, small government, local control. And we know what we need in our communities far better than Austin does. In our jails, if we need cameras, our sheriffs will put them up. We don't need the state of Austin telling us that we need a camera system to watch one or two prisoners, right? Just as an example. And so I think that that is something that has to be checked in Austin and kept at a local level.
All right, thank you, sir, very much. And you can pass the microphone now to Mr. Sparks. And pretty much we're going to ask you the same question, Mr. Sparks. Do you believe in term limits? And if you do, how long should it be?
Yes, I believe there ought to be term limits. I would think probably 3 terms ought to be sufficient. What I have found observing all government really, but especially state and federal government, is that the longer a person's in Austin or in government in those positions, the less likely they continue to have the same values. A friend of mine who held office once said, you know, the longer you're in office, you become they. And I think that's really true. So, yes, I would support term limits.
All righty, sir. Do you feel like there's anything more at the state level that could have been done during COVID, or anything that could have been handled differently?
Yes. The answer to that is yes. I believe that the state legislature should have been convened in order to direct any emergency mandates. I don't believe that our Constitution gives the governor the authority to do some of the mandates that he had. Personally, I think all of those should have been determined. First off, as Tim said, you know, we value our citizens, and you know, we have an intelligent citizenry, and I believe we have compassionate citizens, and therefore I think given to their own understanding, I think they would have made good choices for their community, and I think that's where all of this should have stayed.
All righty. Many businesses and individuals are struggling right now to recover from the financial effects of the pandemic. What will you do to aid your fellow Texans in that recovery?
Well, so one of the things that I'm hearing that as I travel these 45 counties that's really hindering our recovery is the fact that the federal government has pumped so much money into the ability for people to stay at home. And so businesses are struggling to come up with workers as they try and kick things off again. You know, that's a federal issue. But what I would say at the state level, I think it's incumbent upon Texas, and this is not just a short-term plan, it's a long-term plan to make sure that we control the spending at the state level so we can hopefully leave more dollars in the citizens' pockets.
Okay, and what are your views on increasing taxes?
On increasing taxes. Well, as a general rule, I'm against it. You know, again, it does take a certain amount of revenue in order to run each segment of government. But I believe that there's always efficiency to be found. Again, I've been a small businessman now for over 30 years in a very cyclical industry. And, you know, the way you continue to prosper are two ways. One, you keep a very tight control on your spending. And two, you employ innovation. And I think our state really needs to do both of those things in order to keep our taxes low.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And also, what are your views on unfunded mandates handed down by the state to county or local governments, and how would you vote on such mandates?
Well, again, as Tim said, that's an issue that we hear over and over and over again. And I do believe that a lot of times where some of that comes from is the fact that most of our legislators come from metropolitan areas. And so their mindset when they're trying to fix problems, and honestly, a lot of those problems are created by out-of-control local government that they're trying to curb. But when they pass that legislation, it doesn't translate well into rural communities. So first and foremost, I think we have to be very careful about all of the legislation that we passed. I'm a small government guy, and I really believe, again, that our most of those decisions need to be made at the local level.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And we'll pass the mic over to Stormy Bradley. And Stormy, do you believe in term limits? And if you do, how long should it be?
I do believe in term limits. I've actually filled out the pledge for the U.S. term limits. 3 term limits are my maximum. I think it needs to be across the board.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you feel like there's anything more at the state level that could have been done during COVID, or anything that could have been handled differently?
There's quite a bit I think could have been handled differently, starting with the fact that our governor shut our state down. That is unconstitutional, and our other elected officials, our congressmen, should have called a special session. They are allowed to do that, and kind of jerked the chain a little bit of Mr. Abbott, because he did a lot of things that he should not have done. You can make an executive order, but you cannot pass mandates. That is the legislator's job.
Okay, thank you. And now many businesses and individuals are still struggling to recover from the financial effects of the pandemic. What will you do to aid your fellow Texans in that recovery?
So to start, I would use my stiff backbone and not allow any other mandates to come down upon us. Secondly, small businesses are, I'm a small business owner myself. I have multiple steel construction businesses. And I think that we need to put more emphasis on small businesses. I think we need to assist our chambers. We need to assist other local entities to, I'm going to say incentivize, for lack of a better term, to benefit and help rebuild these small businesses. Small businesses are the engine that drives our economy.
Okay, and there again, what are your views on increasing taxes?
I think we are all in agreement that we do not want to see a tax increase. I serve on my school board in Coahoma, and we get our revenue from tax dollars, from property tax. So I feel that there's going to have to be a lot of reworking before we can just eliminate property tax altogether. I think we all would love to see that day where we get to own our home, right, instead of renting it from our government. But I also think property taxes are something that you pay locally and they stay locally. If y'all are getting new schools here. I think I passed some construction on the way over here. So, I mean, that is where your tax dollars are going. So you have to really think about that and consider that, because as Tim said earlier, the taxes, the government needs what it needs to fund, and I think we need to definitely look into that. And it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you spend. That's the way I live my life. And, I think we need to have that mentality in our government. But I also think that we as citizens have to provide for our schools. We have to provide for our sheriff's department and things like that. So we really need to take a hard look at what the plan is and where we want it to be, because the taxes you're going to pay for it one way or another.
Okay, thank you. And now this is a question that we're going to ask everyone else also, but with the expanded district, how will you service the needs of all your constituents?
I feel like that's the easiest question, besides the term limits. So I am in steel construction. Y'all obviously have a lot of steel construction here. I also live on a ranch, and I have my pilot's license, so flying the district to see everyone will not be an issue. I also am a nurse, and so I feel like my skill set is very unique in how I can represent this district. That's how I plan on doing it. I'm more of a generalist instead of a specialist. I think y'all can probably relate that. We have hard work ethic and believe in a hard day's work, and I will bring that mentality throughout the district.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're going to pass the mic down to the end of the table and talk to Mr. Reed and ask him that same question. With the expanded district, how will you service the needs of your constituents?
So when I worked the Texas Panhandle as an FBI agent in Amarillo, I was responsible for all 26 counties. And so whether I was working cases in certain counties or not, I made it a point on Fridays to go out and visit with the sheriffs, the chiefs of police, detectives, to see what was going on in their area, where could we help, what common cases were we working, so that we were working smart together as opposed against each other. So I have a track record of how I took care of the Panhandle as far as the law enforcement end. Presently, I'm an athletic director and a teacher. So when I get elected, I will no longer have that job. I'll be a full-time senator. And that means that the whole district has my attention and that I'll be getting in my vehicle. I don't have a pilot's license, but I may call Stormy to see if she can fly me around. I have no problem getting in the car and driving 3, 5, 6, 7 hours to go visit with people, spend a few days there, do what needs to be done. We have an amazing thing now called technology, too. And the use of technology as far as Zoom meetings and talking on the telephone as you're driving, I've learned how to do that real well in this campaign, keeps you in touch with what's going on. Any of us, and I think we would all agree, as a state representative for you, we're not experts in most of the things that we're going to have to deal with, which means we're going to have to rely on the people in the district who have the experience in those fields and reach out to them to glean from them what we can so we can do a good job for you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sparks, same question. With the expanded district, how would you service the needs of all your constituents?
Yes, so it's a very large district, but one of the things that I've been able to confirm as I've been to all of the counties and met with folks is it's a very like-minded district as far as the people. For the most part, they love God, they love their families, they're not afraid to work hard, and they're willing and very interested in giving back to their community. So from that standpoint, from El Dorado, Texas, all the way up to Stratford or Texline, where we have that going for us. As an executive, so I've been president of a small oil and gas company now for more than 15 years. We've had production all the way from literally El Dorado up to the top of the Panhandle and from Oklahoma over into New Mexico. And so, the executive skills I think that I built over my career, I think are going to aid in that. But, as much as anything, you've got to want to stay in touch with your constituents and not be, I don't even have any hobbies, and I wish my wife was here to give me an amen on that. I don't play golf. I enjoy solving problems, and that's pretty much what I've done my career. And so I'm looking forward to understanding the needs of the different components all around our district. I do believe, I know at one time Teal Bivens had the Senate 31 Club, which I think was really a good idea, in which he went around the district about 3 times a year to make sure that he was not only hearing his constituents, but also giving them updates on the things that the legislature was working on or the bills that they were looking to work on for the next legislative session.
Thank you, sir. And Stormy, same question to you. Oh, you already answered that.
Would you like to change your answer?
I got a new. She could change, I guess, if you wanted to, but I have a new one for you here, and this is from our audience here. Well, you can answer first, and then we'll pass it back. Yeah. This came in from someone in our audience here. Will you do anything about, we all hate it, robocalls?
I would love to do something about robocalls. I'm not quite clear on exactly where the legislator stands on that. I think, in my personal opinion, although I hate them, we are a free commerce capitalistic country. So if someone wants to make their money making phone calls, well, then we just have to suffer through it or block them. I don't know. That's something I might look into, legislation for that. But again, we would be taking away someone's paycheck.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And Tim, same question for you. What would you do about robocalls?
Well, I do carry a gun. I know what I'd like to do with them. Advancements in technology are a great thing, but they're also a bad thing. And there are some things that we're probably just going to have to live with. To ban that on a state level would be very difficult. It would be even, I think, more difficult on a federal level because we do have certain freedoms and rights. We don't have to answer those calls. When I see what it is, I just ignore it. But I think they're going to be a pain for us for the remainder of our lives.
Okay, Kevin, what say you about that?
Yeah, well, I share the same consensus probably of everybody in this room. But again, if we're going to be all about limited government, a lot of times the way we get ourselves into a bind is kind of knee-jerk reaction, and we go past legislation without understanding the long-term consequences and how it might apply to other situations. So I would really be an advocate for coming up with technology that would give each individual the opportunity to block those calls as opposed to, legislation that outlaws, some type of free enterprise, as Stormy had said.
Okay, thank you, sir. And each of you have some time left now if you'd like to have a rebuttal or a final statement.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so as a rebuttal, I'd like to push back a little bit on Tim's comment on taxing. I really do believe that property tax is an unfair way to tax, and we're seeing that in a lot of places where, even in the big cities, there are financial institutions that are coming in and buying up all the homes at 30% over their value, and it's creating a real hardship on people who've been in their homes for 40, 50 years, and they're living on a fixed income now, and they're at risk of being priced out of their neighborhood. I don't believe that's fair. And so I think that there are reasonable ways that we can, over a period of time, get rid of property tax and replace it with a broader-based consumption tax. Once again, the more you spend, the more tax you pay. If you're thrifty, it allows you to make that decision instead of local boards randomly valuing those assets. So in closing, one, I'd like to thank you, and I appreciate all of y'all showing up for this. This is the way the system's supposed to work. Our election system does not work very well if our citizens are not educated on the issues or the candidates. So thank you for being here. I'm honored to be endorsed by President Trump. I also, as a business person, think when you look at the job that he did as president, it's clear that the decisions that he made helped our economy prosper. I'll close with this. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." I want to go to Austin to help leave a healthy Texas to all of our children's children.
Thank you, sir. Tim, would you like to say anything in closing?
I would like to address that tax issue, but we don't have enough time for me to really explain why that doesn't work. But it's probably a consumption tax is the most regressive tax on on the poor and the lower middle class than any tax that's out there. But that's a long discussion. Running for public office is probably the biggest honor that a person can have. The bigger honor is when people actually vote for you, right? Because they have some confidence and trust in you. I didn't wake up one day and decide, oh, I'm going to run for Texas Senate. I didn't have somebody that supported me and said, you're going to be my person to run for this seat. I thought about this 30 years ago as I dealt with our politicians here locally in some of the cases that I had to work out of their offices. And it got me thinking about what good government is and what we really know about good government. So over my professional career and my personal career and what I got involved in our communities, I did it in the sense of making sure that I was qualified to be a state representative, a Texas state senator. And so my jobs with the FBI, I ran 2 IT projects and didn't have an IT background. They both came in under budget and on time, which is unusual when you look at managing federal programs. My travel overseas was to build my understanding of how to deal diplomatically with people, because I dealt with presidents of countries and generals in the military. The things that I did in Amarillo with Child Protective Services, and I was the co-founder of Amarillo Area CASA. I was on the Canyon School Board. All of those things I did because I knew that at some point in my life I was going to run for public office to represent the people of West Texas. And as you go into my background, you'll see that I'm well qualified to be your representative, and I ask for your vote starting Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Stormy, a closing statement from you, ma'am.
I just want to reiterate what I said earlier. You want someone to represent you and your family and your businesses without compromise. My name is Stormy Bradley, and I have been a rural Texan my entire life. I live in a town right now of 900 people, and I grew up in a town with 300 people. I know we live life differently, and we don't have the representation that we should have. We have, and through the whole district, we have 1 senator on the state level and up to 5. I'm not quite sure the exact number, but I think 5 representatives. Take Houston, they have multiple senators and a dozen representatives. So we are already at a disadvantage. We need people with the integrity and accountability and grit to represent us and our way of living, because it is under attack and we need to protect it. We are the fuel, fiber, and food that services our entire nation. Again, my name is Stormy Bradley. I am your Republican candidate for this district. Thank you.
Thanks to each and every one of you, and we appreciate you being here this evening. Thank you very much. Okay, if we could get our candidates for Mora County Judge up here next. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Rowdy Rhodes and Terry Vogel, who are running for Mora County Judge. And a lot of these questions, gentlemen, are going to be pretty much what you heard earlier. So no surprises here. And we'll begin with Terry Vogel. Sir, do you believe in term limits? And if you do, how long should it be?
Yes, sir, I do believe in term limits, and I think I hold a stronger line than anyone so far this evening. I think 2 terms for any policymaker are sufficient. In fact, I believe in that so strongly, I'm hoping with the help of more county voters, I can term limit Rowdy.
Yes, sir. Same question
Okay.
to you.
I was born right here in Mora County, lived in Dumas all my life, had 2 businesses. I do believe in term limits. I also believe in the Constitution, but I also believe if somebody's doing a good job, you keep them in there. You know, we've got a lot of stuff happening in this world right here in Mora County. A lot of new businesses coming in, a lot of plans for the future, for safety, our roads, infrastructure. And I do love my job. I do all the guardianships and probates. So I deal with the people that I know. Like I said, I was born here. My wife was born here. And my daughters are 6th generation Moore County residents. I think as long as you're doing a good job, you need to stay in there and do that good job. I've always told everybody that, well, how long are you going to be in there? As long as I feel like it's fun and I'm doing a good job. And there'll probably be somebody try to shoot me out in front of the courthouse, but I shoot back. But I do believe, like I said, I graduated from Dumas High School. I've supported the Dumas Demon and Demonettes for over 44 years. This is all my life, and served on a lot of boards. CASA 69, Safe Place. I believe that I'm also a community servant. I have a master's peace officer's license. I got my peace officer's license in 1992. Dumas PD carries my commission. I don't want to lose it. But I believe that as long as somebody's doing a good job and they're honest, I think they need to stay as long as the citizens want them. Thank you.
Okay, Rowdy, thank you. And Terry, what are your views on increasing taxes?
Taxes are a necessary evil. I think it's the job of our local government to hold the rein on spending and maintain the lowest tax rate possible to provide the services that we need and want. I also think that there are some things that we need to pay close attention to. The state instituted some policies in the last few years that keep taxes from being raised on certain percentages and keep our property tax values from being raised to certain amounts. But when our local governments raise both to the maximum, I think that's wrong. That takes more money from us. Each and every dollar taken from a citizen in taxes is a burden on that citizen. And our representatives who spend those taxes, who raise those taxes, need to be cognizant of the fact that every dollar taken from us to spend on tax projects hurts us. We may get services that we need, but at an era like we're facing now with rampant inflation, can we afford to take more money from the citizens of our county? Now, we weren't allowed to make opening comments. Can I make some comments at this point?
Yes, sir, you can.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a Christian. I'm a husband, a father, and a grandfather. I've been married to the same wonderful gal for 47 years. We raised 2 daughters and 2 grandchildren. My parents instilled the values of faith, hard work, honesty, and integrity in me as they were raising me. Like my father before me, like my father-in-law, and like my brother-in-law, I joined the United States Marine Corps and served my country. I was honorably discharged as a staff sergeant. After the Corps, I became a police officer in the city of Canyon. I was recruited by the city of Odessa and served there as a police officer for many years. After that, I came to Moore County and went to work right here as a deputy sheriff. I left Moore County to pursue some business opportunities, including running a successful private investigations firm. I was offered the opportunity to come back to Moore County and serve as criminal investigator for the district attorney, a position I held for 20 years and retired from recently. But it was in the Marine Corps that I learned leadership. Now, the Marine Corps has a set of values and ethics that it drives deep into the heart of every Marine. And they're best exemplified by the phrase from the Marines' hymn, "First to fight for right and freedom,
and to keep our honor clean. As your county judge, I will bring those values with me. I will always fight for what's right for Moore County, not just for the one or the two or a few, but for all of us. Because if something is not right for all of us, well, then maybe it's just not right. Now, our nation is torn right now. We're a nation divided. And the mood of the nation can probably be best expressed by a quote from Ronald Reagan. Politicians, like diapers, should be changed frequently. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a change. The Texas primary is among the first in the nation. Our voices will be first to be heard. Join me and make our voices heard, not just at the courthouse steps in Dumas, but all the way to Austin and on into Washington, D.C. I've had a lifetime of commitment and service, and I have more yet to give. I'm running for county judge. My name is Terry Vogel, and I'm humbly asking each and every one of you for your vote this year.
Thank you, sir. And Rowdy, I want to give you equal time on that also,
Sure.
if you'd like to make an opening statement.
Yeah. Like I said, I was born right here in Dumas, Texas. Moved away when I was young. Both my grandparents were here. So every summer, me and my three sisters spent every summer here. We spent Christmas here. Lived in South Texas for about 11 years, Kermit, Texas for 2 years, and we finally got back April of my junior year in high school, and I was glad to move back to Dumas, Texas. It's always been the happy place just because this is where my grandparents were. My wife, like I said, she was born right here in Dumas, Texas, right here in Moore County. Both my daughters, sixth generation Moore County residents, both graduated from Dumas High School. Thank goodness they both graduated from college and they have a job. I love Moore County. I had a business here at a young age, had two successful business. First one I sold and thought I wanted to be a cop, so I went to the police academy. Became a canine officer for the sheriff's office. I did work in the jail for about 6 months. Learned a lot of stuff. I was your mayor from 1998 to 2005. I had to resign to run for county judge. So I have a lot of budget, over 24 years of budget experience. I know how to treat people. I do believe in the golden rule, always be nice. My door's always been open. Anybody who's ever needed anything, they can always come. I still answer questions about city utilities even. But like I said, my door's always open. I do all the guardianships, probates. I see a lot of people passing away that are my friends, my families. But I just plan on staying in Moore County till I die. Now I do want to be your county judge as long as I can, as long as I'm doing a good job, and basically as long as it's fun. Once it's fun, you don't need to do it anymore. But I do appreciate y'all's vote and appreciate y'all. And like I said, always be nice, never bully. And sometimes you got to be careful about changing diapers. You don't know what kind of diapers you're going to get. So.
All right. Hey, Rowdy, while you still got the microphone in your hand, I have a question for you, and I'll also have that same question for Mr. Vogel. But how much did Mora County receive in COVID funds, and how was that money used?
Wow. We received $4 million, and we're looking at the major number one thing that Dumas and Moore County doesn't have is broadband. So that was one of our number one goals, is to get up to date so that our community has broadband to bring in new businesses, all the way up to Cactus, Sunray, bring us back up into the competitive world. We've used some for, you don't understand, our county is very low tax rate. We've like 0.55001, which is really low. I mean, there's probably in this area, out of 19 counties, we're probably the 7th from the bottom as far as a low tax rate. Anything that we do, we try our best to be progressive but keep the tax rate low. I've got a lot of help. All my county commissioners are Christians. I was raised Christian. And we have never went to the maximum. And it's really tough to even go up a cent. But like I said, the way stuff is, and sometimes you have to go up a little bit. I don't agree with the way that some of the appraisals are done. But and then back to the COVID monies, we spent like $440,000 on upgrading the air conditioner system in the courthouse, which falls under those COVID funds. We have very low debt for a county. We're probably our outside auditor was very surprised, and over the last 10 years, we've kept our budget low. So we're pretty on top of what's going on. We have a lot of new industry coming in, and there's a lot of stuff that we're having to work a lot harder at doing. As y'all know, what all's going in is we have more dairies, we have more trucks. We just have more trucks, not just going down the highway, but in our county. So we're having to work harder at working on our roads.
Okay, thank you, sir. And Terry, do you feel the county could have better handled its use of those COVID funds?
Well, I've been going over the budget and looking at the county commissioners' meetings minutes, and I'm a little surprised at how much of the COVID relief funds haven't trickled down to local businesses. I know that our businesses are hurting. Several of them have had a significant drop in income while we had the COVID shutdowns. And while spending money on broadband and other things is good, and upgrading air conditioning systems that were failing is good, I'd like to see more of that money go to the people of Mora County and not the government of Mora County. I think that there may be some better ways to spend that money. Now, unfortunately, if I'm elected, I'll be working under a budget that I have absolutely no input in during the first 10 months of my term. That budget will be determined by the current Commissioners Court. So I'll have no input in it. After that, it remains to be seen how much COVID money will be there, if any, and what the situation will be with the pandemic, which I see winding down, thankfully. So that's a question I'll have to take up at the time I get into office, what to do with what's available then.
Okay, Rowdy, let's see. What is Mora County doing in regards to planned improvements and or additions at the airport?
We're very fortunate to have an airport. One of my best managers is my airport manager, and he comes up with all the ideals. When I come into office, I know the county commissioners kind of controlled the price of fuel, and that's pretty much our airport manager does all that. We're the most competitive airport in the area. When we put into the restaurant, which allowed a local person to come out and run, that brought even more business. We look, like I said, Valero came out and they gave us $500,000 to help Lincoln our runaway. So we have the bigger planes. We're a 24-hour airport. And we have people, NASCAR people coming through. We have actors coming through. Motley Crue comes through. I don't know if anybody remembers who they are. But he has his own personal jet, been there several times. But we have service now. And that's one thing that we all have to be. We're public servants. We're servants. The county has monopolies on so much stuff, but we still need to be a servant. But our airport is really knocking a home run. And like I said, by lengthening and widening the runway, Valero's biggest jets can come in. But, we have a lot of traffic. Like I said, Brandon Cox, our airport manager, sets our fuel prices, and he's there 24/7. He gets called out in the middle of the night, happy-go-lucky. I've had so many compliments about service. That's the number one. People want service. They don't mind paying a little bit more for fuel, but when they can save a fortune, get in and out and nothing flat, that's beating Amarillo.
Thank you, sir. And Terry, pretty much same question for you. What should the county do in regards to improving or making additions to the airport?
Well, as a private pilot, I can tell you that the Dumas Airport is a diamond in the rough. It's a great place to fly into and out from. It's safe to use, and it attracts business to Mora County. Corporations with large aircraft need a place they can get into and out of. They need a place that has the fuel and the services they need, and Brandon Cox does a very nice job out there. He keeps our fuel prices low enough to attract other people here, which does attract people to land that may not come here otherwise, and it lets them see what a nice community we have. I do have some questions about some other expenditures out there. There's some things I'd like to look a little deeper into, but in general, we've got a great airport. I have no complaints. I enjoyed flying in and out of it.
Thank you, sir. And Rowdy, what are your views on progress, and how will you help Mora County progress into the future?
Number one, like I said, broadband. My daughter, she graduated from SMU computer engineering. Right now, she is spends most of her time at her apartment working off a computer. And I don't know how many of y'all people have internet at home that dies and it's on and it's off. But the broadband is going to help us, not just for residential, but big businesses. They need that. Now, I've got really good commissioners. And right now, our goal, too, is to get our roads into shape for all this new businesses coming in. I know that most of y'all know we have quite a few dairies, a new cheese factory coming in, which is going to help us tremendously on our tax. But we're looking to the future on infrastructure. We've got to work harder on our roads. We've got the best equipment. We've got the best employees. We've got long-time employees. And everybody works together. It's not just one person's ideal. I have an awesome county attorney, Scott Hickenbotham, that always thinking outside of the box. We have an unbelievable relationship with the city of Cactus, Sunray, the school district. So we work with all of those too, helping Sunray with their new plans on their school district. So we've got the eye on the future, and it's just, we're on top of it.
Thank you, sir. And Terry, same question to do for you also. What are your views on progress, and how will you help Mora County progress into the future?
Mora County is well poised for growth. We have a great work ethic here. We have an outstanding population. We have a lot of space to expand. Some businesses are coming here. In fact, Dumas is one of the only communities in the Panhandle experiencing real growth. We have to be smart in how we balance growth and expansion. We need to protect and defend what we have so we don't lose it, while at the same time bringing in other business, larger industries. Those are ongoing issues, and they'll develop and they'll evolve over time. And as more businesses want to come into Mora County, we'll have to be very vigilant, and we'll have to pay attention on how we spend tax money to accommodate the needs of those businesses as far as roads and other transportation.
Okay, Terry, while you still got the microphone in your hand, this is a guest question for you here, sir. Did you pass around a petition for voters to sign in order to be placed on the ballot, and did you forego paying the filing fee?
Yes, sir, I did. And I did that for a very specific reason. Texas law allows any person who's running for office to either file by paying a fee or by gathering signatures on a petition. Now, when I first thought about running for Mora County judge back in the 80s, and then it solidified in my mind in 2012 roughly that I was going to run when I retired, I thought about how I would approach it. And for me, gathering signatures on a petition was a litmus test. If I had to work hard and spend inordinate amounts of time gathering those signatures, I would know that I didn't stand much of a chance if I ran. If, on the other hand, I could gather those signatures very quickly, it would indicate to me that I had a better chance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to say it took no time at all for those signatures to appear on those petitions, and I'm running for Moore County Judge.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, let's see. I was just handed, yeah, one of those things. I was just handed a question. Now, Rowdy, you can answer this first, and then we'll pass it off to Terry. Do you see any relief beyond homestead and freezing taxes of those over 65 on fixed incomes as regulations are not fixed?
Right. And I think what you're talking about is when you turn 65, I know I believe the school district has theirs frozen. And I think maybe the city of Dumas may have theirs frozen too. What our exemption, I believe, is when you turn 65, your house is appraised at $50,000, and that's something that we haven't really looked at because it's just now starting to come up. But what it does is, with the way the appraisal district has been appraising homes and people paying it way more than what a home's worth, their neighbor, it raises their neighbor's home up. So I can see something that the county would probably be okay with looking at that, because what he's saying is once it's frozen to a rate. And I think Moore County is probably the only one that doesn't do that. And it's really never been asked until just here recently. I've been visiting with one gentleman about that, but I believe the school district freezes it and the city of Dumas freezes it. So I don't think the county would have a problem with that. It does protect the elderly just because, like I said, right, I think we're at 60,000. No, we're at 50,000. But if the value of your home goes up, your taxes go up. And like I said, right now we're in a world where it's unbelievable what people are paying for homes, way overpaying. And what I'm afraid is when the pendulum swings back the other direction, there's going to be a lot of people own a lot on their homes that it's not worth that.
Okay, thank you. Terry, same question to you. Do you see any relief beyond homestead and freezing taxes of those over 65 on fixed income as valuations are not fixed? I mispronounced the word a while ago. It's valuations that are fixed.
Well, currently, we have the homestead exemptions, and those are a good thing for people on fixed income. And as a person who has recently arrived in that age category, I can tell you it's a nice cushion. The difficulty, again, is in balancing taxes versus expenditures while looking out for the citizens of our county. Valuations can still go up. For example, if your home, say, is worth $100,000, you're over 65 and you've taken advantage of the homestead exemption, if your valuation is appraised next year at $110,000, your taxes go up commensurately. And those are issues that we will need to look at in the future. Some of our desires, some of our wants are going to be controlled by statute passed out of Austin that we have no control over. Other things that we do have local control over, we need to look at.
Okay, thank you very much. And I do have one more question here, a guest question. If elected or re-elected, how will you facilitate Moore County's response to population growth and possible crime increase due to such growth?
I think we've got a really aggressive Dumas Police Department, and I do all the mental health, so I can say that we do have a lot with compassion. Our sheriff's department is more aggressive. I think what's happening right now. Our new DA is looking after it and prosecuting. The trick is everybody belongs in jail, but there's people who need this in jail, and those are the ones that are being prosecuted by. We do have a new county court at law that's been real aggressive of getting quick and speedy trials. But with growth, you're going to have more crime. You're going to need more police officers. You're going to need more coverage. and that comes back to dollars. We're very fortunate in this area. We do have a good sheriff and an awesome chief of police. And this is, I don't know if y'all know it, but this is really the first time that our chief of police and our sheriff are like this. Usually there's a little territorial issues, but they work so well together, and we do have some pretty aggressive people, peace officers that are using technology, hunting down grants to help pay for some of this. But, and I think police can't be everywhere. So, if anybody sees something, you see this Cadillac converter issues where they're cutting out the Cadillac converters. If you see something, even if you're wrong, call 911. Let's get it checked out. People, we really need to help our law enforcement. And we're very lucky because people here respect our law enforcement, and we support our law enforcement. I have a master's peace officer's license, and I know what they go through.
Thank you, sir. And the same question to you, Terry. If elected, how would you facilitate Mora County's response to population growth and possible crime increase due to that growth?
Well, there is absolutely no doubt that we have an increase in crime, none whatsoever. Having been involved on both sides of that issue, prosecution and defense, I have a unique viewpoint. There are people who absolutely need to be in jail and locked up, and there are people who don't. We need to balance that. Smart prosecutions, smart police work, and we as public officials, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, need to be a little bit smarter in how we procure training and equipment for our officers. Something that I've tried to do over the last 20 years was pool educational resources for officers. When you send an officer to training in Austin or San Antonio to a specialized program, you spend a couple of $1,000s to do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have made it a point to bring trainers here at a cheaper rate to train more officers. For example, you can bring an expert to train officers in interview and interrogation and spend a week with those officers for $6,500 or less, and he can train 20 to 40 officers at one time. It's much smarter to do it that way than to send one officer to training and spend $2,000. You maximize the bang for the buck, and you minimize the hardship on the tax dollars at the same time. Now, I know that there's a coalition of sheriffs in the district who are talking about a new justice center. That may be pie in the sky. We'll have to wait and see what proposal gets pulled in on that. But we have a little failing infrastructure. Our jails throughout the district are crowded. They're full of people. We need to move folks through the system out of jail in order to save space. But at the same time, a lot of those people do need to be there. So this is a balancing act we're going to have to work on as we go forward.
Thank you, gentlemen. And I'll give you both time to rebuttal or final response.
Once again, I'm Rowdy Rhodes, your incumbent Mora County judge, and I am a public servant. I believe in community service above and beyond. I know there's issues that come up every day that we deal with. Like I said, I feel like I have the edge that I was born and raised here. Know a lot of people. I have an unbelievable relationship with the city of Dumas. Unfortunately, I drink coffee with the mayor nearly every day. Aldo, city manager of Cactus, get along with him really well. Socorro and Cactus, the mayor, get along really well with Sunray, city of Sunray. I go to Sunray Lions Club. I can't be a member, but I'm kind of an honorary member, so I get to eat free there too. Of course, I got to pay for Dumas, but it's worth it. I do believe in community service. I believe in helping the children. We've been involved in Project Graduation forever, it seems like, but it's always fun, and we usually do it out in front of the courthouse. and our kids are what's going to be our future. I do believe that it's God, your family, then your job, and I try to instill that into all of my employees. And one thing you got to remember, I'm an elected official. I don't have any power with the sheriff, the clerks. I help them as much as I can, but once you get into an office, there's only so much you can actually do. But if you can get along with them, you can get a lot of help, extra help from other elected officials because they trust you. I've got like over 24 years of budget experience. I don't like to pay taxes. I pay taxes on my home and my shop, but I know that things cost. But I've been real fortunate to have a good commissioners, and we've kept the budget tax low. And once again, I'm Rowdy Rhodes, your incumbent county judge, and ask for your vote. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm running for county judge because I believe that leadership, honor, commitment, integrity matter. I believe I have those qualities and can offer them to the county. For the past 20 years, I've been intimately involved in a state association called the Texas District and County Attorneys Association. 4 separate times I was elected to the position of chairman of that board. We plan training for peace officers around the state. We handle the affairs of the association. I'm the only person who's ever been elected 4 times to that position. And the last 2 times I was kind of drafted. I hadn't intended to run, but my colleagues across the state persuaded me that they wanted me there. That job prepared me well for the job of county judge. Preparation for meetings, planning, setting agendas, setting schedules, building coalitions, networking throughout the state. I bring those abilities with me. I believe I'm fully qualified to step into the job. I also believe I have an analytical mind. I'm able to assimilate facts and figures. I'm able to analyze them and come to conclusions. I'm a straight shooter. If you ask me a straight question, I'll give you a straight answer. I'm not a politician. I hope I don't become one. I'm a firm believer in term limits, and I will term limit myself. I'm running for 1 term right now. If at the end of that term I still like the job and you still like me, we'll talk about a 2nd term. But I am not running for a 3rd term ever. And a 2nd term is questionable. I believe strongly in term limits. No one of us has the exclusive ownership of ideas and knowledge. Each and every one of us has something we can contribute. By holding office forever, we keep other people from bringing those ideas, that knowledge, and their skills and putting them to use for our community. My name is Terry Vogel. I'm running for county judge. I will serve you, and I humbly ask for your vote. God bless us all.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much for being here tonight and sharing your views. As I say in radio, please stay tuned. We will be talking to the incumbent and the challenger for Justice of the Peace Precinct 1 coming up next.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Mullinax, and I'm running for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1 of Moore County. I want to say a big thank you to all who have worked to put this forum together tonight. For those of you who do not know who I am, I've been a resident of Moore County for 49 years. I graduated from Pampa High School and attended the Pampa College of Hairdressing, receiving a license in cosmetology from there. I have two boys, Clay Cunningham and Casey and wife Natalie Cunningham. They all went to school here in Dumas and graduated from Dumas High School. Clay works at Scout and Casey at Valero. I have 5 grandchildren who have all attended the Dumas school system and graduated, with the exception of my little granddaughter, Piper, who is in kindergarten at Hillcrest. I have one great-granddaughter who is in Corpus Christi. I might add that my 2 grandsons, the twins, has also just graduated from Amarillo College here in Dumas. I currently serve as your Justice of the Peace in Precinct 1. I have been with a judge's title for working on 24 years. I serve your Dumas municipal courts. I have been your municipal judge for 18 years. I also serve the city of Cactus and the city of Sunray as the alternates judge's position. I've served on many committees and boards through the years and have over 1,000 education hours. And I attend the Middlewell Church, and I play the organ there every Sunday for them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry about the noise.
We'll figure out how to work this thing, sir.
Yeah. Okay, Cindy, we'll have you on here in just a second, after we get this reset. Okay, go ahead, ma'am. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. False cue. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
My name is Cindy Valenzuela Johnson, and I am a graduate of Dumas High School. I've lived in Dumas my whole life. I am married, have been married to my husband, Chris. We have 3 kids, Dylan, Colton, and Mackenzie. Dylan and Colton have graduated from the Dumas High School. Mackenzie will be graduating in May. And I love Moore County. My parents were also residents of Moore County for a long time. My brothers, my sisters, we all graduated from Dumas High School. Before I came to work for Moore County, I was a registered pharmacy tech at a local pharmacy here for 8 years. I'm actually currently employed by Moore County Road and Bridge. I've been there 9.5 years. I love my job, but I feel like the time has come where I need to move on. With our kids all gone from home, I feel that I can be committed to being a full-time justice of the peace. I also serve on the board for our CASA 69 organization. I'm a board member and also a child advocate. My passion is to help children that have been taken from their home due to negligence or to parents' drug abuse or abuse. I believe that every child matters. I also have served on many school boards, booster clubs, as a treasurer as well.
Okay, Barbara, here's a question that's been asked of all our candidates this evening. Do you believe in term limits, and if you do, how long should it be?
Well, I believe that you should be structured enough to know when the time is that you should go home. If you're doing your job, fulfilling your commitment, and doing it well, I don't see a reason to cut it off. I think as long as your taxpayers, your citizens are backing you and seeing the work ethic that you have, and you have their trust and confidence, I just don't see a reason to put a term limit on it, but I will know when to go home.
Okay, Cindy, same question to you. Do you believe in term limits? And if you do, how long should it be?
I do believe in term limits. I think 3 terms has been, three term limits is actually probably good for everyone. As y'all can tell, I'm a little nervous. I'm sorry. I think term limits are good.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And now, I like this question, actually. Barbara, what do you feel is the most important duty performed by the Justice of the Peace?
My goodness, there are so many duties that the Justice of the Peace performs, and you could do maybe one of them in a day's time, and you might do 15 of them in a day's time. You just never know what's going to come up or what you're going to be called to do. I don't know. I really cannot put any particular portion of the job in that category because every one of them they have their own special place. And you have to have the knowledge, and I have my faith that gets me through some of it. If you don't, it'd be really hard to walk in the path of the job. So I really can't say a certain position in that aspect.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And Cindy, same question for you. What do you feel is the most important duty performed by the Justice of the Peace?
Well, I can't really give an answer because I'm not in that office. But for me, one of the things that made me look into this position is because I care for children. I know that truancies is one of the biggest jobs and duties of this position. I want to be able to give our future a chance in life whether they mess up once or twice. I do know that I have compassion. I don't judge. I run my campaign on 3 things, and that is integrity, honesty, and fairness. Integrity, I hold that near and dear to my faith. I'm a Christian, and I serve God, and I will serve Mora County as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Barbara, how will you work to ensure cases are handled in a timely manner?
All of the cases in our courts, on my municipal side and on my justice court side, as far as the criminal courts, are pretty much up to date. The civil court is a whole nother ballgame because you have all kinds of different timelines you have to go by. We've been shut down for nearly 2 years in that civil court processing. We have worked hard to get back where we need to be. I think Carolyn told me this last week that she is beginning to work on 2021 cases. They have, our limits are $20,000 in that court. And we get boxes, envelopes full of civil cases every day. It's just there's no way to stay right on top of the civil side of it. We do the very best we could do with the time frames that we have to work around that is set forth by the legislature and the state laws of the state of Texas.
Okay, thank you. Cindy, same question for you. How would you work to ensure the cases are handled in a timely manner?
I would just go into office. I would start going and weeding through cases that can be taken first and just file and just do the best to my ability to get cases in and out of that courtroom, and do the best to my ability.
Okay, thank you. Now, I have a couple of questions that just came in from our guest. As JP, you also serve local businesses as well as citizens. What areas do you think can be improved in this service?
Well, I'm not real sure where that's going as far as in the JP's position. You serve all of Mora County and the citizens of Mora County, whether it's business or personal, school related. I don't really quite understand the question, I guess, on that. I've never really had that.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't either. But
I mean, I'm answering the best I can here.
you're right. I just read them as I get them. Okay, yeah. But I'm sure you pretty well answered that. And same question to you, Cindy. Again, I'll repeat that. As JP, you also serve local businesses as well as citizens. What areas can you think of that could be improved in this service?
Well, I think everything really, it should matter to all of us, you know. Local businesses need support from hometown people as well, and, you know, I don't know because I'm not in that position yet to answer.
Yes, ma'am. Now, this is also another question from a guest. You'll get a kick out of this one. If you get called out at 2 a.m. for an inquest, will you go out?
You bet I will. I've been there many times. Under Code of Criminal Procedure, Chapter 49, you will go out. The only reason that I don't go, or I haven't gone in the past year and a half, was because we were shut down once again by the state of Texas during the COVID process. They would not allow us to go out, but I worked at home from iPad process. But otherwise, unless it's inclement weather, which that I've just kind of started my own deal because I feel like the officers have enough to work at and they're out on the snowy, icy roads, because I've been in those icy medians with trucks and things sliding around you. I feel like if I can work it electronically and get the scene cleaned up and get them home safe, they don't have to worry about trying to watch after me. But you are required to go out. I've gone out at all hours of the day, the night, Christmas Day, New Year's Day. You may be sitting down at a meal. You may be in the middle of a meal. You turn the fire off and you go if you get a call. But the answer to the question is yes, I will go if I'm called.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, Cindy, I'll give you that same question. If you got called out at 2 o'clock in the morning for an inquest, would you go out?
Absolutely, I would. That is one of the duties that I signed up for, and I would go out and do my job.
Thank you, ma'am. And actually, I have a final question for both of you. Now, Barbara, what, if anything, can you do at the JP level to help deter or reduce crime here in Mora County?
Well, I don't make the laws, and I don't execute the laws. But I do take care of them after the fact. So I can't really say that I could deter anything like that. I think that's left up to the legislative and executive branch to take care of that position.
Okay, thank you. And Cindy, same question to you. What, if anything, could you do at the JP level to help deter or reduce crime here in Mora County?
If I'm elected JP, I would definitely work with the school officials, the law enforcement, to make sure that everything gets taken care of smoothly. And I would do my job, do my duties up to the best of my ability. And I would just help everybody that needs to be helped.
Okay, thank you very much. And you have a minute for a rebuttal or a closing statement here now.
Okay, I will address the one comment that Cindy made as far as truancy goes. Our court, I am the truancy judge. Scott Higginbotham is our truancy prosecutor. We don't have that much truancy filed in our courts. We have a lot of parent contributing, which is on the criminal side, and that usually flows through the municipal court, and we handle those over there. But I have not had that much truancy that's come through my JP court. I've worked hard to fulfill my position in a very friendly, respectful manner. I believe the law was written for a reason and should be followed. I try to look at every situation in an unbiased and a professional manner. I'll work hard to serve the citizens of our county and will be honored to have your vote. I'd like to say I'm humbled at the continued support from all the citizens of Moore County and will continue to serve you all to the best of my ability and by the laws of the state of Texas. I would appreciate your consideration and vote when you go to the polls. Early voting begins February 14th, and the primary voting is March 1st. Thank you all.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. As you can tell, I'm a little nervous, but I do feel that I can do the job. There's been many challenges that I have had in life. I've overcome many challenges in life. I know I could do a good job for Moore County and the citizens of Moore County. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, very much for being here tonight. We appreciate it. And as we always say, don't go away. We have County Commissioners Precinct 2 coming up for you next. All right, folks, we have County Commissioners Precinct 2 for you right now. Miles Mixon and Billy Long. Miles Mixon is, I believe, our incumbent. Is that right, Miles?
That's correct.
Okay, I thought so. All right, you both have 2 minutes to start off with an opening statement.
Hello, everybody. My name is Billy Long. I'm running for County Commissioner, Precinct 2. I'm going to start off, just be honest with you, I am totally out of my comfort zone. Very nervous, so bear with me and we'll try to get through this. Okay, so I am married to my wife, Brandy. Together we have 3 children. We also run a business out of the house. And a few years ago, we started out, the business was like every other business, really small. Well, it grew steadily over the years, and now we're doing actually really good with it. Through the business, I've gained knowledge and learned that the importance of budgeting and finances. Without that, you're going to be, your business will not be a success. Through the business, like others up here tonight, I've had the privilege of becoming a private pilot. And I used my pilot's license in various things within the business, but I feel that it'll help me in county commissioner's court due to the fact that I have more knowledge of the Moore County Airport than, say, the average citizen would. I've also served on the Child Protective Services Board for a number of years, and I do enjoy that. I am a Christian man and a faithful member of the Temple Baptist Church here in Dumas. I am currently employed with the City of Cactus in the police department as a patrol sergeant. I've been there for 8.5 years, and I hold an advanced peace officer certificate. Prior to that, I was employed with the Moore County Sheriff's Office, started in 2003 to 13.
That's all right. Thank you, sir.
Well, good evening. Allow me to introduce myself and some of the qualifications I feel like I have to serve as your county commissioner in Precinct 2. Again, I'm Miles Mixon. I'm currently your Precinct 2 representative on the Commissioner's Court, and I'm candidate for re-election for the same position. First of all, I'd like to thank the sponsors that put on this program tonight, this forum. I think it's vitally important in today's society that the residents and the voters be very familiar with the candidates that will represent them in government positions. I have lived in Dumas for approximately 46 years. I'm married to a lovely individual named Charlotte, and God has blessed us with a beautiful 12-year-old daughter named Abby. I graduated from Dumas High School in 1978 and went on to graduate from Texas Tech University in 1982 with a Bachelor's Business Administration degree in finance. I spent the first 18 years of my career in the banking industry in Borger and in Dumas, and then went on to work for Valero McKee Refinery for the next 18 years, 14 of which was in the accounting office, which included budget preparation. I'm a former board member of the Mora County Chamber of Commerce, a previous campaign chairman and president of the United Way, past president and Paul Harris Fellow of the Dumas Rotary Club, and former board member of the Special Olympics. Currently, I'm the treasurer of the PEGS Auxiliary for Dumas ISD. I encourage everyone to exercise their right as Americans and get out and vote for the candidate of your choice. I'm running as a conservative Republican that believes that less government control is better than more. Thank you for the trust that you have given me in the last term to serve as your commissioner, and I look forward to serving you in the next term, always keeping in mind that I work for you, the residents of Mora County. Thank you.
Thank you. And Miles, since you still got the microphone in your hand, we'll start with you with the questions here. It's a question we've asked all the candidates this evening. Do you believe in term limits? And if you do, how long should it be?
Well, I've been thinking about that since you asked the first Senate candidates. And early in my career, I was against term limits because I believe the registered voter held the term limit in his vote. But I'm starting to kind of change my belief in that, because in the past I think the voters have been uninformed, and as I watch our representatives in the government, in the federal level, there's several individuals that's been in there for 40 years and have done nothing. So I think it's something that needs to be looked at in the future, and I'm leaning towards term limits.
Okay, Billy, same question to you. What do you think about that?
I would have to agree with Mr. Mixon on that. On the federal level, absolutely, they need to be out of there within 2 to 3. I would say maximum 3, leaning more toward 2 in federal level. On the lower level in the courts, at this point, I'm really undecided on that. I do think that as long as the individual is doing the job they're elected to do, and the citizens are happy with the guy or female, either one, I do believe that it's okay for them to continue doing good as long as they're giving it their 100%.
Okay, thank you, sir. Miles, what are your views on increasing taxes? You know, that's kind of a thing with folks now.
Well, I'm like every other voting constituent out there. I'm opposed to voting for raising taxes. It depends on the budget, because the budget that the county works with is a service provider, and we are limited with the funds that we have from tax revenue. So we have to make decisions based off the amount that we're given, and it's always a balancing act on, do we cut services, keep the taxes the same? Do we raise taxes, provide the same services or even more. So sometimes it's necessary, but the overall philosophy of mine, I'm opposed to raising taxes, and I lean more towards coming up with new ideas and thinking outside the box, finding ways to save money. The second year of my term, we, for instance, changed insurance companies, and I believe provided better services, and we were able to save the county $500,000. And with that money, we used to provide additional services and kept the services the same without raising taxes during that time. So I think that's the kind of philosophy that we need, to see where we can cut expenditures without increasing the burden on the taxpayers.
Okay, Billy, same question to you. What's your views on increasing taxes?
Well, I am like Mr. Mixon. I'm absolutely opposed to increasing taxes. Nobody wants to pay more. The way I look at it, my views, the value of a dollar goes down daily. And we have to take care of our employees within the county of Mora. If we don't continue to pay them what they're worth, they're never gonna allow the county to succeed and to prosper. And that's the ultimate goal, is you want Mora County to continue to stay small town America, but at the same time you want it to prosper and to succeed and to flourish. But overall, like Mr. Mixon, nobody wants to pay more taxes.
All right, thank you, sir. Miles, how much did Mora County receive in COVID funds, and how was that money used?
Well, I believe, as the judge mentioned earlier, I think the county received approximately $4 million. We use that money in a variety of ways, some of which that he didn't mention, that we helped our law enforcement and our emergency management teams buy proper PPE and different equipment to keep our employees and jail inmates safe. We purchased a new van that had extra filters, HEPA filters, and things that when they were transporting prisoners, they would keep the officers safe and also the inmates. We purchased some trailers to store PPE in, and refrigerators for vaccine that we could keep. So we have a lot of that money still left, and we are still exploring a number of options that we have out there to spend this money, because we want the money to go to the correct individuals, and just not looking for any ways to spend the money, because there is a time limit on the money, but we want to spend it judiciously and the best possible way that we can to help all people of Mora County.
Thank you, sir. And Billy, it's basically the same question, but do you feel the county could have better handled its use of those COVID funds?
You know, sir, really being honest here, there's really not a way that I could answer that question, because I was not involved in the decision making. There's no way I could, without doing quite a bit of research and reaching out to other resources, talking to people, there's no way I could give you an answer to that.
Okay, well, I do appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Miles, what is Mora County doing in regards to planned improvements or additions at the airport?
Well, I know currently we have a contract, I believe it was with TxDOT, that we are resurfacing some of the taxiways, maybe some of the runways. We always got projects going on there about painting the existing hangars. I know Brenda does a terrific job out there. We've got a new veranda or pergola for the pilots to sit under outside. I know he's renovated the inside of the office. New flagpole. The grass is always good. It's a major asset to Mora County to have that kind of airport, because I know it's getting a lot of traffic from other local entities, local cities. They like to come here. Our fuel is cheaper, and I believe that we have a terrific airport, and it's just a real asset to Moore County, in conjunction with the restaurant out there that people can come and grab a bite to eat while their planes are being refueled. So it's a major asset to the community, and I think it helps us attract business to the county.
Okay, thank you, sir. And Billy, what do you believe the county should do in regards to improving or making additions to the airport?
Well, sir, being a pilot myself, I have zero improvement suggestions for the Moore County Airport. I know numerous people that are also pilots, and the fuel is quite a bit cheaper than Amarillo, Lubbock, even going on over to Stratford or Dalhart. Brandon always keeps the fuel really reasonably priced. And as far as the runway, the taxiways, there I've never had any issues there. Everything seems to be operating just spot on. I don't have any recommendations for the Moore County Airport as of right now, and it's a really good airport to fly into and out of.
All righty, thank you, sir. Now, I've got a couple of questions that just came in from our listeners and those on Facebook and whatnot. Miles, are you in favor of cost of living adjustments for retirees?
This question came up several times in the budget negotiations. I believe the county has a history of giving retirees a cost of living adjustments. My personal opinion on that is I'm opposed to that. Not that they don't deserve that, but I just think that's not the best use of county funds. To give a 1% raise to the current retirees is just short of $200,000 per year. And I think that money could be used for the whole of Moore County, the rest of the citizens and the voters of Moore County, a better use of that money than giving the raise to the retirees.
Okay, thank you, sir. And Billy, how do you feel about that? Are you in favor of cost of living adjustments for retirees?
Okay, in this issue, sir, I'm going to disagree with Mr. Mixon, because I do feel that the retiree that did retire from Moore County, he or she did put in the time there, and they're getting this retirement check. And as I previously stated, the value of a dollar goes down daily. So the money that they're getting this year is so much worth so much less 5 years down the road. So I do feel that they do need the cost of living raises just as every other county employee does get.
Okay, thank you, sir. And Miles, here's another question from one of our guests. Here you go. How would you protect Mora County motorcycle riders?
Would you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't hear it.
How would you protect Mora County motorcycle riders? I don't know. Buy them some leathers, a helmet. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to answer that by reverting to the answer I give a lot of times in the commissioner's court. I'm not an expert on everything, and when I don't know something, we have experts in the community that do know it. We have a county attorney, we have a sheriff's department and police department. So I would turn that over to them. If I had a complaint within the commissioner's court, would listen to the complaint and express my concerns to the sheriff and the chief of police of Moore County that have more experience on that than I do.
Okay, thank you, sir. Billy, how would you address that one?
I guess if that were to come across my desk, I would, same as Mr. Mixon, I'd approach the sheriff, and I would also go to the chief of police, and I would speak to them and the city of Dumas in regards to putting up different signs or just reminders for the general public to be sure to watch out for the motorcycles. I myself used to ride. I don't currently. My brother and my dad both ride Harleys, and the only other thing I can think of is training wheels, and my brother needs them.
Thank you, sir. Now, in closing, both of you have a minute for a rebuttal or a closing statement.
Okay, in closing, I would just like to say that I'm encouraged tonight by the amount of people that are in the audience tonight, and also the amount of candidates that have applied to fill these positions. With you being here, the crowd, it's like I said earlier, it's so important for you to get to know your candidates. You need to know what their qualifications are, how they believe, and I'm really encouraged to it. And the candidates, I applaud you for running. It's not easy sometimes, and sometimes it's the thankless job. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. I think my budget experience, my financial background uniquely qualifies me to serve on the commission again. Running the county is a business, let's face it. $15 million budget, I mean, you've got to have some business experience, and you've got to have some budget experience to think outside the box sometimes and figure out the best way to use the taxpayer money that serves everybody, not just one group of people. And it's a hard job sometimes, but I enjoy it, and I would just encourage you to get out and vote for your candidate, exercise your right as an American, and I look forward to, if you're re-elected, serving you for the next term. Thank you.
And I would like to thank each and every one of you for attending here tonight, and also for allowing me to be a part of it. I myself been a public servant since 2003, and that's my passion. That's what I enjoy doing. I don't mind the phone calls. I give my personal cell number out to the people that are in Cactus, and I enjoy it. If I can help somebody, I would love to do it. Now, I may not have the college experience, the extensive budgeting experience that Mr. Mixon has, but I'm willing to learn. I'm a hard worker, willing to learn. I am dedicated. I have the heart of a servant, and that's my goal, is just to work for the county that I've grown up in my whole life, graduated school here. Wife's from here. My parents, Johnny Ray and Patsy Long, they're from here. My in-laws are from here, born and raised. So all I'm doing here is wanting to serve my county. And I'm running not against Mr. Mixon, I'm running as an option. So if you want somebody that's approachable, down to earth, just a regular guy, I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Miles, Billy, thank you very much. Appreciate y'all being here this evening. Up next, we have county commissioners for Precinct 4. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have our candidates up here right now for County Commissioner Precinct 4. And Greg Satterfield could not be here tonight, unfortunately, but his daughter is here, Kyla Pearl, and she wanted to make a statement for Mr. Satterfield. Kyla, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm obviously not Greg Satterfield, but I will read what he has prepared. Hello, I'm sorry I won't be attending the forum tonight. I've lost an uncle and I'll be in Oklahoma for his funeral. I appreciate the panel letting my daughter do my intro. Thank you for the invitation to this event, and I wish all the candidates good luck. My name is Greg Satterfield, and I'm running for Mora County Commissioner in Precinct 4. I was born and raised in Sunray. I'm married to Leona, and we have 2 children we raised in Sunray, and now 6 grandsons that live in this county. We both graduated from Sunray High School and are members of the Sunray First United Methodist Church, where we've gone our whole lives. I've worked in the oil and gas industry over 40 years, and I'm currently employed at Scout Energy. Leona and I have owned and operated 3 small businesses in Sunray for many years. In the past, I have served on the Sunray ISD School Board for 3 terms for a total of 9 years. I've learned many skills from my jobs, our businesses, and as school board trustee that I feel qualify me to be a good choice for county commissioner. I've served in an elected position, managed budgets, have over 10 years experience with road maintenance, building maintenances, plus team building and safety training. I feel it is a perfect time in my life to serve the county as commissioner. I will be honest, a good steward of people's money, and be available to listen to the people of the county. Since I wasn't able to attend tonight, I would invite anyone to call me if they have questions. Mora County is a great place to live, and I want that to continue. So my main objective is to do my part to make the community where I grew up and raised my children a great place to live. I would appreciate it if you would vote for me to be your next county commissioner for Precinct 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Callie, very much. Appreciate that. And we have Colt Farney. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Colt Farney, and I'm running for County Commissioner, Precinct 4. I'm a lifelong Mora County resident, and, well, I love Mora County. I have 16 years of law enforcement experience, and I'm currently Chief of Police, Sunray, Texas. I enjoy serving the community, whether it's hosting a fundraiser event for the police department or assisting another organization with their benefit for their cause. Currently, I'm second vice president at Sunray Lions Club, and I like taking part of our lunch meetings, visiting fellow Lions, planning events, and helping where it's needed in the community. I'm a conservative Republican, and I believe in personal responsibility, limited government, free market, individual liability, and the Second Amendment. I'm also of Christian faith, and I'm a proud member of the Sunray Baptist Church. If elected county commissioner, I promise to stay true to my beliefs and continue being active in the community. I also vow that I will take the time to hear and address any concerns or issues from Mora County residents.
Good evening, everyone. My name is George Rogers. I am running for Precinct 4 County Commissioner. I am married to Doreen Rogers, a beautiful, wonderful woman. She treats me good. I'm also been a resident of Mora County 51 years. A resident of Mora County Commissioner Precinct 4 for 19 years. I've worked for Diamond Shamrock, which is Valero Energy now. I've worked there for 41 years, but I'm retired now. Been retired past 5 to 6 years. I'm also a military veteran, Vietnam era. I was chosen when I was in the military for honor guard at Washington, D.C. I'd done the honor flight a few years ago. Valero sent me there, my company. I've been a general contractor in Mora County, basically in the Panhandle area, for 25 years. I did general construction, house remodeling and such. I'm fully retired. I'm available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day if you need me. I'm interested in the growth of Moore County and the future is important to me. I support Sunray. I've got grandkids over there. I support Cactus and Eder. I support the agriculture around here in ranching. I've been involved in some of it. I've gotten older. I don't do it no more. I have made a good living in Moore County, and it's time, I feel like it's time to pay back. Again, my name is George Rogers, Jr., and I'd love to have your vote. Thank you.
I was going to start off by saying good afternoon, but I'll just say good night. My name is Cassie Hadaway, for those of you that don't know me. I'm a mom, a wife, a sister, a daughter, and I think a pretty cool aunt. My sister-in-laws were supposed to be here tonight, but they're taking care of my rowdy nieces and nephews. Thank you for allowing me to participate tonight. I'm proud to say I'm a native Texan. My dad was a Texas Highway Patrol officer for over 44 years, and through that, every time he promoted, we moved. Pretty cool stuff happened from that, too. I got to meet people like Ann Richards and W, for those that know W, right? I graduated from Leander High School and then obtained my degree in agriculture from Tarleton State University. Thanks for a growth opportunity. Back in 2012, I moved to Moore County, and in 2014, moved to Precinct 4, or Sunray. As a previous community relations manager in Cactus, I was blessed with the opportunity to serve in many different organizations in and around Moore County. At one point in the past year, I participated in some form or fashion on 11 different boards or committees, in which I still serve on many of those. A few of the things I'm most proud of are the annual events that happen here in our community that have a positive, lasting effect on our children. I continue to serve on several committees in our local community, including the United Way, which I'm super excited about. One thing I'm most proud of tonight is the opportunity to get to know you more and you better understand how I can positively represent you if elected as County Commissioner for Precinct 4.
My name's Jeremy Bain. I'm Sunray local. I grew up out in the country, east of Sunray. I actually live back in the same dirt that I grew up on. Recently put a house out there. I farmed and ranched my entire life. I went to work at JBS for 5 years. When I left there, I was a superintendent over maintenance. I have I left when I was a superintendent. I left to go back to farming full time. I can run just about any piece of machinery, so I understand the road and bridge department quite well. I'm also quite well with budgeting, where I set the budget for my farm and my father's farm. I'm probably going to be the shortest speech that's up here because I'm quick and simple. I'm available 24/7. I'm easy to talk to, and if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know, but I'll find the answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Just keep the mic in your hands there, and I'll start the questions here. Now, we've got a lot of the same questions that all of you have heard all night, but I wanted to start off with a question I got from one of our guests here because I think it's a great question. What one or two things do you think are the biggest issues facing Mora County at this time? Jeremy, I'll start with you down there.
That's a good question. Everybody's talking about the taxes. Nobody wants to pay taxes. Nothing's free in this world, so you have to pay the taxes. But I think we can control where the money from the taxes goes. So I think that's an issue that can be adjusted and fixed.
That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Cassie, what do you think about that? What one or two things do you think are the biggest issues facing Mora County?
After spending about 9 years at the plant, I was able to help 55 families become homeowners in our community. Most of those all were in Mora County. That was part of our process. And so one of the biggest issues that we dealt with was infrastructure and availability of housing. So very, very passionate about those two things. If we don't have the proper infrastructure, and Judge Rhodes and Commissioner Mixon talked about it a little bit, some of the things we're working on, but we need more housing, we need better roads, we need more services for our citizens. And that's citizens of all ages, children, daycare facilities, all the way through high school up to our senior citizens that we talked about tonight. So housing and infrastructure.
Thank you, ma'am. George, what do you think about that? What one or two things?
And just like everybody else, I think this is a big issue with everybody. Try to keep them down, but we do have to raise taxes to have the things we have. Another thing is, it seems like a lot of people in Mora County, Dumas, these small cities, Sunray, Eder, Cactus, things to do around here. We need more industry. We need more things, just fun things for people to do. And that's basically it, I think.
Back to the question, it was the biggest needs, correct?
Yes, sir. Well, the way it's worded here is, what one or two things do you think are the biggest issue or issues facing Mora County?
Okay, to answer that correctly, I would have to educate myself as far as I'm not sure right now what the biggest thing would be.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, Colt. Yeah. Well, we got a lot more questions. And Colt, while you got the microphone in your hand, squeeze that thing up there a little.
Okay.
To you. Yeah, so everybody can hear you. Now, this is a question that's been asked of every candidate this evening. Do you believe in term limits? And if you do, how long should it be?
I don't, as far as the county level, no, I don't. I think that county level term limits, I don't. And I think if somebody's doing a good job, the voters should be the ones to see if they still stay in there or they don't.
All righty. Thank you, sir. George, what would you think on that question on term limits? If you do believe in them, how long should it be?
I believe in term limits. I think 2 to 3 terms is plenty. I'm sorry, I really don't think a person should make a career out of being a politician, especially Washington, D.C. Now, I'm a little iffy at home, here, but still, some people get too comfortable, and it's not a good thing. And I'm seeing more and more of your younger people wanting to be politicians. And that's just like a honey hive to me, it seems like, for some people. And so I do believe in some term limits.
All righty, sir. Thank you. Cassie, what do you think on that same question? Term limits, and how long should it be, if you believe in that?
I would have to say that I do not believe in term limits. If I'm doing a good job, if you elect me to the position as a county commissioner, the voters should be able to decide if they want to limit my term. And I think that should be similar to pretty much any official elected to office. An educated voter, if you don't want that person in office, then go vote. Make a difference. Vote somebody else in.
Thank you, ma'am. Jeremy, how do you feel about that? Term limits, do you believe in them, and how long should it be?
Yes, I'd have to say I think there ought to be term limits, 2 to 3 years, or terms, and then in like the county level and the school board levels, they need to take a break for a term and then maybe run again. That way they have a different perspective coming back into the deal.
All righty, sir. Thank you. And while you still got the mic down on your end, What's your views on increasing taxes?
You know, like I said earlier, the problems in Moore County, everybody says we don't need to increase taxes. No, we don't need to increase taxes. But for the community to grow, somewhere the money has to come from. Because like I said earlier, nothing is free in this world. Do I think we need to raise taxes? No. But is it going to happen? Yes.
Same question.
Same question. How do you feel about that booger of a question, increasing taxes? Yeah.
Everyone's favorite topic, right?
Yeah.
So taxes are definitely a necessary evil, right? I mean, they fund things like our operating our county facilities, infrastructure, roads, improvements, public safety, which I'm thankful for. But obviously, we don't want to raise our taxes to a level where our citizens can't afford to live here. So there's a balance, and I think we have to be able to understand the issues, understand the taxes, and then make the decision that's a healthy balance.
George, same to you. How do you feel about that?
I hate taxes with a passion. But I understand you have to raise taxes occasionally to live comfortable. You've got to have good roads. You know, taxes is part of your growth. So you just got to live with it and try to keep a lid on it. Thank you.
Okay. Colt, how do you feel about that? Your views on increasing taxes?
Well, I agree. I don't like taxes, but it is a necessary evil, and I think that you should try everything you can, but at some point, taxes are going to, just like anything, have to go up some. That's not saying take advantage and raise them every chance you get, but.
All righty, sir. I appreciate it. While you still got the mic in your hand there, what should the county do, in your opinion, in regards to improving or making additions out here to our airport?
Yeah, we need to keep Brandon because we got the best airport around. I mean, if you go to other places, they don't have near the airport as this one here. So I guess just keep Brandon happy because ours is beautiful. Every time I go out there, it gets better.
Yes, sir. George, what do you think on that issue?
That airport is very necessary. It needs to grow as Moore County grows. We're going to have to always have funds for it, maintain it, update it, and yes, I believe that airport is a very, very special asset for us.
Thank you, sir. Cassie, how do you feel about that, about the improvements to the airport?
So I've been blessed to be there when our former company jet came in, and not only is the airport amazing, but somehow we ended up with Judge Rhodes' vehicle to drive for a few days from it, so I don't know how that worked, but we had a free car to drive around too, so I like that. The airport is great, but what more can we do? What education can we provide to our kids to get more people excited about aviation? Or is there marketing? Does everyone know about our airport in Moore County? How do we increase those services? But overall, I think it's an amazing opportunity for us to just continue to bring more people into our community when they know more about that airport.
Thank you, ma'am. Jeremy, how do you feel about as regards the improving or making additions to the airport?
I mean, as far as the airport, as the community grows, the airport's got to grow with it. I mean, it's just basic. I don't fly. I don't go nowhere. So I can't say how the airport itself is because I've never been on a plane on the airport. Yes,
All righty, thank you, sir. Jeremy, while you still got the mic down at your end, and you know this will probably be pretty much the final question here, but I would like to know, what are your qualifications for a county commissioner, and why are you the best overall choice for the seat on the Mora County Commissioners Court?
I feel where I have the knowledge of the machinery and the maintenance background and the farming background, that I know what it takes to run the road and bridge department, what money is it going to take, you know, the time frame that this stuff's going to happen. My biggest downfall is that I'm not a public speaker. I like one-on-one conversations. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Cassie, same question to you. What are your qualifications for a county commissioner, and why you're the best overall choice for this seat on the Mora County Commissioners Court?
So my experience in the last several years has allowed me to be involved in the community in a lot of different organizations, everything from United Way to the YMCA, to help install and support the Well Health Center in Cactus, help see and serve on the board of directors of the Cactus Nazarene Ministry Center, a refugee advisory committee throughout the Texas Panhandle, Lions Club in the past, served on the board of directors with the Dumas Moore County Chamber of Commerce. And I say that to say that I've learned a lot about our community and the people in it. I also have a servant's heart. I have a budget-minded experience. I was able to help manage the budget for our employee relations for our facility in Cactus for several years. And I have a heart for the people. Do I know everything there is to know about maintaining a road? No, but I don't think I need to. There's somebody else that can drive that tractor for me. So I would appreciate your vote for County Commissioner Precinct 4.
I think I know somewhat of asphalts. I've worked in that unit, blending asphalts out of the plant for some years. I don't know it all, but I do know some of it. I feel I'm qualified because I'm money-minded. I can manage people. And I just watch the funds. I just want to serve this county. You know, in my retirement years, I'm fully retired. And I feel like I can be there 24/7 for you. And I just ask again for your vote. My name is George Rogers, and I'd love to have your vote. Thank you.
I believe that my time in law enforcement and also my chief position now has taught me a lot. And being involved in the community a bunch and with the Lions Club, I think that it's helped me a lot with leadership and decision making, budgeting, listening, communication, problem solving, and teamwork. In a small town, you have to have a lot of teamwork. I think that, well, like I said, I'll continue being in the public. I like being in the public. I like being a part of the community.
Okay, Colt. And if you wanted to say anything else, each of you have a minute here for a rebuttal or a closing statement. If any of you would like to say anything in closing.
I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen and get to know me a little bit, and I'd sure appreciate your vote.
I've been to a few of the commissioners' meetings past month or so. I've learned a lot. I realize, my gosh, them people got a workload. They go, and they spend hours in there. And I thought for a little while there, I thought, man, I'm not sure if this is for me. Because y'all spend a lot of time in there. They work together fine. There's nothing wrong with our 4 commissioners that's in there now and our judge. And I'm proud to know them. But Lynn's going to retire. I'd love to have his job. And like I said, I'm fully retired, and I can be there 24/7 for you. Thank you again.
I don't know what else to say. I'll be honest. I'm not fully retired. I wish I was fully retired, George. That's my goal. But I do appreciate you guys putting this together. Thanks to the chamber, thanks to the radio station, and for you guys all coming out. I know it's past dinner time, so I'm hoping someone's got something cooking in the oven. We'll be at your house soon. I do have a servant's heart. I mean that. And I've been able to volunteer. I've been able to do all the things in my former role, and I still get to do it today in the role that I'm in now. I'm excited to be in agriculture, excited to be in the farming community that I get to deal with every single day, and that's very much what this community is about. I'm not in law enforcement, but I feel like when your dad's a cop, everybody in your house is a cop too. So have that experience as well, and I admire you guys for that. Again, thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight, and if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer those questions afterwards. Thank you.
Well, it's me again, short and sweet time. I'm Jeremy. I'm running for Precinct 4. I've had a grandfather that was county commissioner, and I had my great-grandfather that was also county commissioner. So I understand the time that it takes, the dedication that it takes. I enjoy working. I like to be busy. So challenge me. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate you being here. And there you have your candidates for Precinct 4 County Commissioner. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank all our candidates for being here this evening. And yeah. And we thank you all for being here. And we thank all our listeners on the radio and everyone on social media. I want to thank the Dumas Mora County Chamber of Commerce for making all of this possible this evening. And our partners in crime, as I call them, the Mora County News Press, Michael Wright, and also Blue Cloud TV and the Mora County Journal, Raymond Brady. Thanks to everyone. And remember, an informed voter is a better voter. So keep that in mind. Thanks once again to everyone.